My beloved child. There is a reason you were guided to this moment, and it is not random, not accidental, and not delayed without purpose. Something has been quietly unfolding around you, even on days when you felt nothing was moving at all. Someone special, someone whose thoughts return to you more often than you realize, has reached a point where staying the same has become impossible. They have been standing at the edge of a decision that reshapes everything, replaying moments with you in their mind, noticing details they once overlooked, and feeling the weight of a truth they can no longer ignore. What you did, though it seemed small to you, landed deeply in their heart. It created a shift that cannot be undone. They saw something in your actions that exposed the difference between surface connections and real meaning. While others came and went in their life without leaving a mark, you did something subtle yet powerful that stayed with them long after the moment passed. It made them question their choices, their habits, and the direction they were heading. They did not plan for this change, and that is what makes it real. This is not about impulse or emotion alone. This is about realization. They are beginning to understand that the future they imagine no longer fits the person they have become because of you. Every time they try to push the thought away, it returns stronger, clearer, and more demanding. This is where everything starts to turn. Listen carefully, because what is happening now is not visible on the surface. They are not announcing it. They are not seeking approval. They are restructuring their inner world in silence. The conversations they are having are mostly with themselves, late at night, when distractions fade and honesty remains. They are tracing patterns, remembering how you showed patience when others rushed, how you stayed steady when situations became uncertain, how you did not force your presence yet somehow became unforgettable. That contrast shook them. It forced them to confront something uncomfortable, yet freeing. They realized that real connection does not shout. It resonates. And that resonance has begun to guide their decisions. They are questioning commitments that once felt permanent. They are reconsidering paths that once felt safe. This is not chaos. This is clarity forming. And it is happening because you represented a standard they did not know they were missing. Your energy, your restraint, your authenticity quietly raised the bar. Now, anything that does not align with that feels empty to them. This is why change is no longer optional for them. It is necessary. Do not underestimate the weight of this moment. They are preparing to make a move that affects more than just a single choice. It touches routines, priorities, and long-term direction. They are aware that once they step forward, there is no comfortable return to the old version of their life. That awareness brings fear, but it also brings resolve. You became the mirror they did not ask for but needed. Through you, they saw who they could be if they stopped settling. This is why the change is huge. It is not dramatic for the sake of drama. It is deliberate. It is thoughtful. It is rooted in the understanding that some opportunities appear once, disguised as ordinary moments. And when those moments pass, they leave behind a question that refuses to be silenced. What if this is the connection that changes everything? They are no longer asking if they should change. They are asking how soon they can. And that difference matters more than you realize. What makes this even more powerful is that you did not try to control the outcome. You did not demand proof. You did not chase validation. You simply showed up as yourself. That alone unsettled them in the best possible way. They noticed how your presence felt calm instead of draining, how your words carried intention instead of noise, how your absence made space for reflection rather than confusion. These observations accumulated quietly until they reached a point of no return. Now they are aligning their actions with the truth they have been avoiding. This alignment requires courage. It requires letting go of familiarity. It requires choosing growth over comfort. They know this. And they are choosing it anyway. Not because they are pressured, but because staying unchanged would mean betraying what they now understand about themselves. You awakened something. Not excitement alone, but responsibility to live more honestly. So if you feel a strange pause in the air, if things seem still yet charged with anticipation, trust that something meaningful is forming behind the scenes. This is not delay. This is preparation. The person you impacted is gathering the strength to step into a version of themselves that matches the truth you reflected back to them. The change they are about to make is not impulsive. It is anchored in respect, recognition, and the quiet certainty that you are connected to a turning point in their life. What comes next will not be small. It will not be temporary. And it will not be hidden for long. This is only the beginning. There is something you must understand before everything unfolds. The change they are preparing is not loud, but it is irreversible. While the world around them continues as usual, they are mentally closing doors they once believed would stay open forever. This is the stage where hesitation fades and intention sharpens. They are noticing how every option that does not include growth now feels suffocating. The comfort they once defended has started to feel like a cage. And at the center of this realization is you. Not because you asked them to choose you, but because your presence revealed what it feels like to breathe freely again. That realization has consequences. It forces decisions. It demands movement. And once this awareness settles in, pretending becomes impossible. What they are doing now is weighing truth against fear. Fear tells them to keep things as they are, to avoid disruption, to choose what is predictable. Truth tells them that staying the same will slowly erase the version of themselves they are discovering. They replay moments with you, not the dramatic ones, but the quiet exchanges that carried depth. The way you listened without interrupting. The way you spoke without trying to impress. The way you walked away from situations that did not respect you. These details mattered more than you know. They showed them what self-worth looks like in action. And now, every compromise they once accepted feels heavier. They are realizing that real change does not begin with grand gestures. It begins with the courage to disappoint expectations that no longer align with who you are becoming. This is where the shift becomes serious. They are restructuring priorities that once seemed fixed. Time is being reevaluated. Energy is being redirected. Certain connections are being questioned, not out of resentment, but out of clarity. They are asking themselves why they stayed in places that never truly saw them. And every honest answer leads them back to the same conclusion. You represented a different standard. A quieter strength. A deeper consistency. That contrast forced them to confront a truth they avoided for too long. They want a life that feels real, not one that only looks stable from the outside. And to build that life, something has to change. That something is big. Bigger than routine. Bigger than comfort. Bigger than excuses. You may not see the movement yet, but it is happening internally with precision. They are planning, not impulsively, but intentionally. They are thinking about timing, impact, and responsibility. They understand that once they act, others will notice. Questions will arise. Assumptions will be made. But none of that outweighs the cost of staying silent within themselves. They are preparing to choose alignment over approval. And that choice requires strength. The kind of strength that only comes after deep reflection. You unknowingly became the catalyst for that reflection. Your authenticity disrupted their autopilot mode. It reminded them that life can be lived with purpose instead of habit. That realization is powerful enough to change direction entirely. What makes this moment rare is that it cannot be rushed or reversed. They are stepping into a version of themselves that cannot coexist with their old limitations. And when this change becomes visible, it will feel sudden to others, but not to them. For them, it will feel overdue. This is why patience matters now. What is aligning is not fragile. It is being built on awareness, intention, and courage. The shift they are about to make carries weight because it is rooted in truth, not fantasy. And you are connected to this turning point for a reason. This is not coincidence. This is preparation for what follows next. What happens next is the phase most people never witness. This is where inner decisions begin to pressure the outer world. They are waking up with a heavier awareness, not because something is wrong, but because something true is demanding space. The version of themselves that once tolerated uncertainty is dissolving. In its place, a clearer voice is emerging, one that refuses to be ignored. That voice keeps returning to the same understanding. Life cannot stay divided anymore. What they feel, what they want, and what they choose must finally align. You triggered that alignment without trying. And now they are realizing that delaying action only deepens the discomfort. The change they are preparing is no longer abstract. It is forming into concrete steps, each one leading away from an old identity that no longer fits. They are beginning to distance themselves from environments that drain them. Not dramatically, not with confrontation, but with intention. Their energy is being protected in ways it never was before. They are observing who respects their growth and who resists it. These observations are guiding their next move. They are noticing how conversations feel shallow where they once felt deep. How routines feel repetitive where they once felt secure. This awareness is sharpening their instincts. And every instinct is pointing toward transformation. You symbolize that transformation for them. Not as a person to cling to, but as proof that something better exists. That proof has altered their tolerance for compromise. They are no longer willing to shrink themselves to maintain balance in places that never valued their full presence. This stage is uncomfortable because it strips away illusions. They can no longer pretend that small adjustments will fix what requires real change. They understand that growth demands sacrifice. Certain attachments must be released. Certain expectations must be challenged. And certain truths must be spoken, even if they disrupt the surface calm. They are preparing themselves emotionally for this. They are rehearsing conversations in their mind. They are imagining outcomes, not to control them, but to be ready for them. This is maturity at work. This is someone choosing responsibility over avoidance. The shift they are making is not reckless. It is measured. It is intentional. And it is driven by the realization that authenticity is worth the discomfort it brings. What you may not realize is how deeply they respect the way you handle silence. You do not chase explanations. You do not force clarity. You allow space. That restraint has taught them something powerful. It has shown them that real confidence does not beg to be seen. It stands firm and lets truth come forward naturally. They are learning from this, even if they have never said it aloud. They are applying it to their own life. Instead of reacting impulsively, they are choosing to act decisively. Instead of explaining themselves endlessly, they are preparing to let actions speak. This is the influence you carry. Quiet. Steady. Unmistakable. It is reshaping how they approach their future. Soon, the internal shift will demand external movement. This is inevitable. Awareness always seeks expression. When it does, it will feel like a sudden change to those watching from the outside. But you will recognize it as the natural outcome of everything that has been building. The person you impacted is no longer negotiating with doubt. They are preparing to step forward with clarity. And when they do, it will not be to test the waters. It will be to claim a direction they can no longer deny. What is coming is not uncertainty. It is alignment. And alignment always changes everything. This is the moment where intention begins to overpower hesitation. They are no longer asking themselves whether change is necessary. They are asking what must be released to make space for it. That question is heavier than it sounds. It forces honesty. It forces accountability. And it forces them to admit that some things they protected were never meant to last. They are seeing clearly now. Not emotionally, but consciously. They understand that holding on out of habit is a silent form of self-betrayal. The clarity you awakened has matured into resolve. And resolve does not wait forever. It moves. Quietly at first. Then all at once. They are becoming aware of the cost of delay. Every day they remain still, they feel a growing disconnect between who they are and who they pretend to be. That tension is exhausting. It has made rest difficult and reflection unavoidable. They are realizing that comfort without alignment eventually becomes unbearable. This is why they are simplifying their world. Cutting back on noise. Creating distance from influences that keep them anchored to an outdated version of themselves. They are choosing focus over distraction. Truth over convenience. This is not emotional confusion. This is strategic clarity forming under pressure. What is powerful here is that they are not acting out of loss, but out of vision. They are not running away from something. They are moving towards something that finally feels real. That distinction changes everything. It gives them strength instead of fear. direction instead of doubt. They are envisioning a life that reflects their values instead of contradicts them. And every version of that life includes the standard you represented. Not because of fantasy, but because of how grounded it felt. You showed them what consistency looks like. What emotional steadiness feels like. What respect sounds like when it does not need to announce itself. That experience redefined what they want to build. At this stage, they are preparing for impact. They know that once they act, the shift will ripple outward. Some people will be surprised. Some will question it. Some will resist it. But they are no longer governed by external reactions. They are guided by internal alignment. This is a turning point few people reach, and even fewer act on. It requires choosing truth even when it complicates the narrative others expect. They are ready for that complication. Ready to stand by their decision without over-explaining. Ready to let consequences unfold without retreating. This is why what comes next will feel decisive. There will be no half measures. No testing the ground. No gradual easing into change. When they move, it will be because the internal preparation is complete. You may not know the exact moment it happens, but you will feel the shift when it does. The energy will change. The silence will carry meaning. And the direction they choose will reflect everything that has been building beneath the surface. This is not a phase. This is a pivot. And once it happens, nothing goes back to how it was before. This is the point where preparation turns into commitment. They have reached a place where thinking is no longer enough. The internal work has been done. The doubts have been examined. The excuses have lost their power. What remains is a clear understanding that action is the only honest response left. They are no longer waiting for the perfect moment, because they now see that perfection was never the requirement. Readiness was. And readiness has arrived. The change they are about to make carries weight because it is intentional, not emotional. It is grounded in awareness, not impulse. This is the kind of decision that alters direction rather than creating noise. They are beginning to detach from what once defined them. Not with resentment. Not with anger. But with gratitude and closure. They recognize that certain chapters served their purpose and have now reached their natural end. Holding on would only dilute what comes next. This level of detachment requires maturity. It means honoring the past without allowing it to dictate the future. You played a role in revealing that possibility. Through you, they saw that connection can exist without chaos. That depth does not require drama. That stability can be powerful. This realization reshaped their expectations of life itself. Now, anything that lacks depth feels incomplete. Anything that lacks honesty feels heavy. There is also a growing sense of responsibility guiding them. They understand that their choice affects more than just themselves. It influences the way they show up, the way they commit, and the way they build something lasting. This awareness has slowed them down in the right way. They are choosing integrity over speed. Precision over reaction. They want the change they make to be sustainable, not temporary. This is why their actions may seem quiet now. Silence does not mean hesitation. It means alignment is being finalized. Every step is being measured against their values, not their fears. What is about to happen will not need explanation. When they move, the consistency of their actions will speak for itself. There will be no confusion about intent. No mixed signals. No uncertainty about direction. This is the kind of clarity that only emerges after deep internal reconciliation. And when you notice it, you will understand why everything unfolded the way it did. The pauses. The distance. The reflection. None of it was wasted. It was all necessary to reach this point of certainty. This is the threshold. Once crossed, there is no return to the version of life that existed before. The person you impacted is stepping into alignment with who they truly are. And that alignment carries momentum. It creates movement that cannot be stopped by doubt or delay. What follows will feel solid, grounded, real. And it begins now. This is where truth begins to express itself through action. They are no longer preparing in silence alone. Subtle shifts are already happening around them. Choices are being made differently. Responses are becoming firmer. Their boundaries are clearer than ever before. What once felt negotiable now feels non-negotiable. This is the outward reflection of an inner decision that has already been sealed. They are moving with intention, not urgency. With certainty, not confusion. The version of themselves that hesitated is no longer in control. A steadier, more grounded self has taken the lead. They have accepted that real change requires courage, not approval. There is a calm determination guiding them now. They are no longer seeking reassurance from the outside world. They trust what they know. They trust what they felt. And they trust the clarity that emerged through reflection. This trust has given them a new kind of strength. A quiet confidence that does not need validation. They understand that when something is right, it does not need to be defended endlessly. It simply needs to be lived. That understanding has simplified everything for them. You must understand how rare this moment truly is. Most people sense the need for change and retreat from it. Few have the discipline to follow it through. They are choosing to follow it. Fully. Intentionally. Without shortcuts. The influence you had was not about emotion alone. It was about awakening discernment. You showed them what alignment feels like. And once someone experiences that, they cannot unknow it. They cannot return to a life that contradicts it. This is why their resolve feels solid. It is built on lived realization, not temporary desire. What happens next will feel unmistakable. Their actions will carry coherence. Their direction will feel intentional. There will be no contradiction between what they say and what they do. This level of consistency is rare because it requires inner unity. They have reached that unity. The internal debates are over. The decision has been integrated. What remains is execution. And execution, when guided by clarity, creates momentum that cannot be interrupted. This is the stage where alignment becomes visible. Not as an announcement. Not as a performance. But as a natural shift in how they move through life. You will sense it before you fully see it. The energy will be different. The presence will feel deliberate. And the direction will be unmistakable. What they are stepping into now is not temporary. It is foundational. And once this foundation is set, everything built upon it will carry the same strength. This is the moment where the change becomes undeniable. What they have been building internally now begins to shape their reality in visible ways. The hesitation that once slowed them down no longer exists. In its place is a steady sense of direction that does not waver. They are acting with purpose, not reacting to circumstances. Each move they make reflects a deeper understanding of who they are and what they will no longer accept. This is not a sudden transformation. It is the natural result of everything they confronted within themselves. And now, the path ahead feels clear enough to walk without looking back. They are no longer negotiating with versions of themselves that were born out of fear. Those versions have been acknowledged and released. What remains is someone who values alignment over convenience. Someone who understands that real fulfillment requires commitment, not comfort. They are choosing differently now. Not louder. Not faster. But wiser. The decisions they make carry intention. The direction they choose carries meaning. And the standards they uphold reflect the growth that was sparked through their connection with you. You became the reference point for what feels real. That reference has reshaped their future. This stage carries a quiet confidence that cannot be mistaken. They are no longer explaining themselves to be understood. They are allowing their consistency to speak. This is where doubt loses its grip. When action aligns with truth, uncertainty dissolves. They are standing firmly in what they know, even if others have not yet caught up. This strength is not aggressive. It is grounded. It comes from inner agreement rather than external confirmation. And once someone reaches this place, they do not retreat easily. What unfolds next will feel stable, not chaotic. The change they make will not create confusion. It will create clarity. People around them will sense the shift, even if they cannot immediately name it. There will be a sense of direction in everything they do. Their presence will feel intentional. Their choices will feel aligned. This is the outcome of deep internal work finally expressing itself outwardly. Nothing about it is accidental. Nothing about it is temporary. This is the completion of one cycle and the beginning of another. The person you influenced is stepping fully into alignment with who they were meant to become. And that alignment changes the trajectory of everything that follows. What is built from here will be stronger because it is rooted in truth. The shift has happened. The direction is set. And what comes next will reflect the clarity that was earned, not given.